Why did you attract a narcissist or someone with an extreme personality into your life? It sounds like kind of a weird question, right? But after I dealt with these people in business and relationships, I realized I had an issue that was allowing these people to act a certain way in my own life. For one, I had not dealt with people with extreme personalities in my upbringing. My family was relatively stable and all of that. I wasn't around constant chaos. I have a friend who was around constant chaos with his mom, his grandparents, all his aunts and uncles, just a lot of very extreme personalities. So usually there's a few things. For one, you may just be a genuinely nice person. A lot of people say that I'm very calm, which is just a personality trait of mine. I have a bit more patience than most people. But at some point I had to look at myself and say, what am I doing, or what am I allowing that these people come into my life and create havoc? So what I realized is from my own trauma, I had some codependent tendencies. And without getting into all the psychology and everything behind that, what happens is you tune into people, you feel what they're feeling deeply. I have a lot of compassion for people because I've been through some painful circumstances. So you give another chance, you make an excuse, you try to cover up for them when they're doing something wrong. You hope for the best. And that may work with some people, with normal people. The problem is that none of it means anything to someone who is a clinical narcissistic personality or many of the other personality disorders. All they are trying to do is survive and cover their insecurity and protect self from trauma, protect themselves. You are just a means to an end, unfortunately. So one thing that really helped me, that's helpful for anyone in life, is realizing that sometimes even as someone who wants to feel safe, feel comfortable, be compassionate, and care about others, is sometimes the most loving thing is a healthy boundary. And not just for your own protection, but also you're not allowing them to continue that bad behavior. Now, if you have something like a narcissistic ex or a parent, you may have to have a boundary with them, but you're still going to have to deal with them, which can be tricky. You just have to be careful to not give up that sense of yourself to take care of or protect them or have them walk over you. And yes, sometimes it's okay to play their game and let them feel like they're winning in order to maybe see your kids. But just know all the caring, all the goodwill, all the extra work, all the stuff you did to try to please that parent or that person will not really come back to you because they don't really care at all. They don't almost have an ability to care. It's so suppressed that they only know how to triangulate, and they think everyone's trying to triangulate against them. So they've got to beat you to it. So weakness or compassion can be a foothold. And I believe you can feel compassion in your heart and also have a loving, firm boundary for someone. In many cases, the best thing is no contact. It's not your job to fix them. It is not your job to help them figure it out. In one case of mine, when the person was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, in my mind, it's like, hey, now this person I care about can get some help and they can label it something and realize these tendencies. Well, no, they went the full-blown opposite because they say only 2% of narcissists even seek treatment. They're still people. They still want to be loved. They still want to love, but they're so buried in that traumatic self-protection and ego and grandiosity and that feeling of, I so can't feel what I felt before. I need to control everyone and triangulate and make sure and not get exposed for this deep, insecure, weak person I feel that I actually am. And if you're out there and you have one of these personality disorders or these tendencies, you can get better. It's behavioral. It's not chemical or anything like that, but it will take work. And there's a spiritual aspect. It's letting go of the ego, the self, and serving others, actually thinking about others, actually caring, putting yourself in their shoes, seeing through their eyes. But if you're someone who seems to constantly attract narcissists, bring them into your life, you probably don't have good boundaries. You may be a nice person or compassionate, and you may have a lower view of yourself. I know for me, one narcissist that came into my life, I was at a very low point. So I wasn't really thinking highly of myself or thinking I deserve this or something better. And they are expert chameleons at making you feel comfortable. I've said this a lot, but these people don't show up looking like the bad guy in the movie. They're the charming guy. They're the politician. Think of these politicians that can say whatever to your face, knowing they don't know you, they don't care about you, and they go over to this other county with a different demographic and speak totally different. That's even bordering sociopathy, I would say. Because the narcissist may have some fear of doing that publicly in front of a ton of people. The sociopath at that point is very controlled and actually not insecure. They're further along on the same cluster of personality disorder. So what should you do? In my case, I took a step back and I had to take inventory of myself and I had to figure out, why am I doing it? What I realized is I allowed too much. I allowed too much from these people. I didn't stand up for myself. I heard their victim story and the bad things that happened to them, and I felt bad. I wanted them to feel better. And again, with a normal person, that's fine. So you need to go and you need to look at, what are these beliefs about myself? I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve a normal person. I'm tainted. I've done some bad things, or some bad things happen to me. Maybe you're abused and neglected by a parent. Maybe you had to be the codependent one who had to kind of figure out what's going on and walk on eggshells with your parent because they were the volatile one. And then you go out and you get in relationships and friendships and business partnerships or whatever it is with people like this. You feel more comfortable being controlled because you don't have that solid sense of self. You became a chameleon for survival to keep up with them and keep them happy and keep them from freaking out. You know, sometimes they don't even yell, right? It's an emotional twisting. It's them praising you as that kid for something great. And then they come 10 minutes later and attack you. Or it's conditional love. Well, since you're not doing this, I can't do this. Or they're just going to emotionally torture you. It's not always physical pain. So the best thing you can do is take yourself back, take your life back, your identity back, not through revenge and force and all these things they might do, but actually by becoming more of who you really are and becoming more and building yourself based off your gifts and talents and abilities and who you are as a being, as a soul, and building outwardly versus taking in from the outside and forming yourself to be liked, to get along, to not be attacked. And if you're in a relationship or you're a child of a parent, like you're dealing with this right now, I get your head is flipped around and it's hard to even understand and see this. You just have to remember there's a whole other life out there for you, that you're not controlled by this person. You're not basing every emotion off this person. And that's where separation helps, because you need to detach and get away. If you can't get away, you need to detach and not take it personal, in the sense, not that it isn't personal, but just in that their voice needs to lower the intensity it has on you. By that, I mean, they're just a trapped child in 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, trying to not get hurt. They're still that person. Even they could be a successful CEO, politician. They've built this whole persona around protecting that little kid. So they're kind of actually a little kid, making noise, attacking, then crying, giving the victim story, doing all of these different things. So you can control yourself. You can control your reactions. You can have firm boundaries, and you can know that it is not your job to protect and cover up and everything for this person, and start building yourself and who you are outside of your relationship and the expectations of this person, because you will never please them. They are miserable. They're unpleasable. They will not be happy until they work on themselves. So you do that for yourself. And they have probably tried to isolate you. Ignore that. Get around good people. If there's a fight, it's your spouse, it's a parent, I'm going to leave till you can calm down. You go out of the room. You may feel like you are being mean. A lot of times codependent or just nice people used to dealing with normal people feel mean when they have to create a boundary. But remember, this is the most loving thing you can do. I've been through this. I had to figure this out for myself. I had to analyze, why do I keep putting myself around these people who take advantage of me? It took a lot of psychology, spiritual work, research, and building myself. If you go to my profile, you can learn how I help others do that if that's something of interest to you. Make sure to like, comment, share. I see this as a community. Let's learn from each other. Let's grow together. And who knows, maybe if the more people have boundaries with these people with these personality disorders, maybe they will act out less. It'll take a lot. It would take a lot, but that's a hope or a dream, right? Ultimately, even for the narcissists in my life who were close people, I wanted them to get better, but I can't control that. So the more that we can help each other out and learn and grow together, let's do that. And check out my other content, and you can learn more about this and other issues that I've learned from and grown from in my own life.